Well, for students who come to Loyola, there are a couple of real practical pieces of advice that I think all the faculty would share with them. One of them is to realize that you are embarking upon a course of study which will challenge you, and you will, from time to time, fail. It's not the failure that's important, it's what you do with the failure. All artists go through processes of development, and your teachers will, as gently as possible, lead you along that path so that you can improve constantly. But I think it's a bit of a shock for some young people to be put into that environment where they are going to be judged, they are going to have juries, they are going to be in front of their peers presenting what they're doing, and it can be a little intimidating. But that's kind of the first step of becoming an artist, is learning how to present yourself and learning how to present what it is that you're doing, and dealing with criticism, constructive criticism, not negative criticism, but constructive criticism to improve yourself. So my first word of advice to students is don't be too sensitive. Realize that everyone around you is trying to help you. So when your teacher says, you know, I think you played that better last week, it's not meant as a personal attack. It's just an observation. It's hard for us to let go of that sometimes, but it's a really important part of development. You'll notice in life in general, people who are willing to accept criticism are the ones who go the farthest and have the most interesting lives. So learning to accept good criticism. Secondly, I would tell students that nothing can be accomplished without hard work. So there will be many hours of hard work involved. As I said with the idea of inspiration, it may look like inspiration to the audience, but trust me, to those performers, it is not an overnight sensation. It's an overnight sensation 8 years in the making. You know, when you see a student, for example, Angela Menino sang at the Met last spring. I think she sang in Lulu, and I'm sure there were people in the audience saying, oh, what a wonderful singer, that's amazing that she was able to do that. Well, that's the product of many, many years of work. And so I would say to all students that be prepared to work, be prepared to be pushed much further than you thought you could go. Our job here is to expand the horizons of our students and to create a warm and supportive environment for them to do that. In other words, we're trying to get them to grow artistically and philosophically, spiritually, and those things are all linked together. The spiritual growth that students undergo between the ages of 18 and 21 or so relates very much to their musical growth. I have found many, many times the great artists I have known have also been just great people. They've been on a spiritual journey as well as an artistic journey. And you can see this in our faculty again and again and again. So many of them are simply astonishing people, not just great artists, but astonishing people. And that's why the students love them. That's why the students, we can hardly get them out of here when they graduate. They want to stay here forever, and we have to kind of push them out into the world sometimes. So students, be prepared to work, but work in a positive and caring environment. And then lastly, I would say that for students and in terms of being successful is do make that extra effort to get to know your teachers and to connect with them. The Jesuits have a word, magis, that they describe, which simply means more in Latin. And what they mean by that is to do that one small extra thing more to make the world a better place every day. And we should apply that term magis also to our own development, to do that one extra thing. Maybe we're tired, we don't really want to practice that extra half hour, we don't really want to go to that class that day, we don't want to go to that concert, whatever it is, to do that one extra thing more every day. It doesn't have to be much, just a little bit. And it falls into the Ignatian concept of personal improvement. Ignatius was a child of the Renaissance. If you think of the great Renaissance artists like Leonardo, Michelangelo, it was all about this constant journey of improvement, improving yourself, being greater. And so it's not surprising that the Jesuits themselves had this kind of Renaissance view of man, that first of all, man should be should develop in all kinds of different areas. It shouldn't just be limited to one speciality. And secondly, that he or she should constantly be developing themselves and improving. So being open to that constant improvement of MAGIs would be the final thing I would say to a student to help them to succeed here.